You think robots are still in a lab somewhere, clumsily stacking blocks? Wrong. They have already quietly taken center stage in the world's workshops, and most people are completely unaware. So stop staring at the clumsy humanoid mannequins that trip over their own feet. A new world order, stirred up by a potent cocktail of capital, supply chains, and scientists, is taking shape right now. Hello, everyone. Today, let's talk about something hardcore, something with a touch of surrealism. Robots, and the humans behind them who are even more relentless. Recently, the cities of Shanghai and Beijing were buzzing. Shanghai hosted the World AI Conference, and Beijing hosted the World Robot Conference. And my goodness, the scene at these events. If you didn't know better, you'd think you'd stumbled into a sci-fi transit station during rush hour. It was a sea of people, so packed that the robots themselves could barely find a place to stand. Why the frenzy? Because this year, the game has changed. This is no longer about the empty promises of a PowerPoint presentation or a distant fantasy from a movie. This stuff is officially starting to clock in for work, and the purchase orders are so large they are absolutely jaw-dropping. According to recent statistics, just since the beginning of 2025, Chinese companies specializing in embodied intelligence, don't be intimidated by the term, it just means AI robots that have a physical body and can interact with the world, have landed contracts worth nearly 500 million RMB. The biggest of these was a single, record-shattering order for nearly 100 million yuan from the car maker Mini, snapped up by the robotics firm Ubitech. These are not small-time pilot programs. This is real commercial validation. The clients are finally saying, we believe this thing can actually do the job. If you went to one of these conferences in the past, it was cool, but it always felt like something was missing. You'd see a robotic dog doing backflips or a robotic arm meticulously tightening a screw inside a glass case. Impressive, but a bit distant from our daily lives. This year, the entire atmosphere was different. Take the humanoid robot from the company Zhishengfang, named Aibao. This thing is the ultimate jack of all trades. In the morning, you could see it playing the drums, perfectly in rhythm. You think it's an artist? The next second, it's over at the beverage counter, grabbing a cup with its left hand and expertly dispensing a perfect swirl of soft-serve ice cream with its right. And a moment after that, it's in a simulated factory, moving boxes with precise and efficient movements. It has a 2.4-meter reach, can lift 20 pounds with a single arm, and has a 6-hour battery life. This isn't just a robot, it's the ultimate form of an all-purpose worker. And you might be thinking, okay, that's a great demo, but it's not. Aibao is already on the job. It's working in car factories, doing logistics and labeling. It's serving as a specialized transport soldier in semiconductor plants. And soon you might even see it in an airport, wearing a vest and giving you directions. The entire ecosystem is maturing at a terrifying pace. It's not just about the final robot anymore. At these conferences, you see companies specializing in hyper-realistic robot heads with skin made of platinum-grade silicone, the same kind used in high-end dolls. You see companies that have perfected the 5-fingered robotic hand, capable of mimicking human dexterity. You even see companies that focus solely on the tiny sensors at the fingertips, allowing a robot to know if it's touching something and how hard. This is the key technology that allows a robot to handle something as delicate as an egg. And most critically, the price has crashing down. A few years ago, a dexterous robotic hand with its core motors imported from Germany would cost you thousands of dollars. Now, a high-end, domestically produced version that can handle an egg costs a little over 20,000 RMB, or less than $3,000. This is a game changer. It means the entire supply chain has matured, costs are under control, and robots are finally moving from being a luxury good towards becoming a consumer product. The capital markets, which have a sense of smell sharper than a bloodhound, have taken notice. In the first 5 months of this year, funding for embodied intelligence and robotics in China surpassed the total for all of last year. The old money of the internet, Tencent, Baidu, Metown, Alibaba, are all in, seeing this as the next great arms race for growth. But amidst all this excitement, let's pour a little cold water. The industry, while on fire, is not without its problems. First, the customer base is still very narrow. The big orders are coming from state-owned enterprises, universities, and specific industries. The dream of a robot in every home is still a long way off. Second, funding is getting tougher. While the total numbers are huge, many companies are getting stuck in the early stages. To get from a Series A to a Series B now requires real commercial traction, not just a good story. Capital is getting smarter. Third, humanoid does not always equal intelligent. The obsession with making a robot look like a person can be a distraction. The key is how it interacts with its environment, not what it looks like. And fourth, don't forget the old guard, the traditional industrial robots. The giant, ugly arms that have been tirelessly working in factories for decades are still the dominant force in manufacturing. They are reliable, stable, and efficient. Humanoid robots have a long, long way to go to replace them. So, why were this year's robot conferences packed to the rafters? Because everyone could smell the money and they could finally see the practical application. This is no longer just a tech show. It is the difficult but determined pivot of a massive industry moving from the lab to the real world. The supply chain is ready, the costs are down, the big orders are coming in, and the capital is flowing. Embodied intelligence is no longer in the future tense. It is awkwardly but powerfully stepping into the present progressive. Morgan Stanley recently declared that humanoid robots will be widely adopted in China in the second half of the year. Whether that's hype or not, it shows that the wind has changed direction. Of course, the road ahead is full of potholes, but isn't that true of any great industrial shift? So the next time you see a news story about a robot, don't just think cyberpunk. Think about the crowded conference halls, the 500 million in real orders, the plummeting prices of components, and the image of Aibao, tirelessly moving boxes on a production line. This revolution may not be as sleek as you imagined, but it is arriving much sooner and in a much more down-to-earth way than you think. A poet of our modern age might say of this moment, "The halls in Shanghai, a crushing human sea, where new machines are fighting to be free. The capital flows a wild and burning tide, as robots serve a cool treat from inside. The old machines now watch with weary eyes, as new drumbeats beneath the conference skies. With 20,000 hands that grip and hold, a new story in silicone is told."